Hey guys, back today with day 2 in the Love Dare for Parents. Um, Day 2 is Love is Patient. Ephesians 6:4 says, Fathers, do not provoke your children to anger, but bring them up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord. When you truly love someone, two key attributes will show up on a regular basis: patience and kindness. In fact, many other characteristics of love are based upon these two attributes. Patience is how love diffuses something negative. Kindness is how love initiates something positive. One takes in a deep breath, the other breathes out life. As you know, raising a child requires an unlimited supply of both. But today, we will focus on the first of these two essentials: patience. Patience is when love chooses to suffer long for the greater good of another. It's like an experienced farmer who knows that fruitful fields only come if he's willing to endure the heat of the sun. Patience is like a wise builder who spends long hours slaving over blueprints, negotiating contracts, and overseeing supplies so his desired vision can become a reality. Both the farmer and the builder must persist when they want to resist. They must daily keep investing time and hard effort until they can celebrate the great harvest or the open house. Likewise, being a loving parent requires a long supply of this amazing attribute. You are cultivating and building up your children, and all your work and sacrifice will ultimately pay off. But today requires your enduring patience. It's something we all need but rarely delight in demonstrating. Yet love invites us to exercise it frequently as parents, and when we do, it brings maturity both to us and our children, as well as needed grace and peace in the midst of our problems. Children have an amazing ability to test the level of their parents' patience by their tone. Children have an amazing ability to test the level of their parents' patience by their tone, disobedience, irresponsibility, or any lack of respect. Sometimes parents can feel so angry they say or do things in the heat of emotion that damage young hearts and minds. The impact can leave a deep and lasting emotional scar for many years to come. This is why we find God's patience so exemplary. When Moses was on the mountaintop, he discovered why God kept putting up with his rebellious, complaining children. God was compassionate and gracious, slow to anger, and abounding in loving kindness. He let his overflowing love control his anger. Whenever he did choose to be angry and firm, it was only after multiple extended demonstrations of his compassion and patience. Today, God is still gracious and patient with us as his children. So when we are unlovable and selfish, distracted and disobedient, we need to remember his enduring love for us and let his example of love overflow onto us and onto our children. This is really the key to this thing God is, I keep seeing God as my father, as my parent. Um, and in my relationship with him, as I keep bringing myself to him, I notice my own selfishness and rebelliousness. I see all these things in me, and I see him continually give grace and mercy and long suffering. I see how he really is. And then I see the cross also, that man, uh, he did it all for me. And his love is just unconditional toward me. So I just keep bringing that to him. And when I get that unconditional love from him and that exchange, then I can clearly and quickly see that uh, in my relationship with my own kids. And so the example is God the Father, who fathers perfectly, and then we as human parents, we just do our very best to continue to give to our kids what we're getting from God. But I think the key is that we're getting it from God as often as possible. And none of us do that perfectly, maybe, but the opportunity's there. We just we got to keep going to Him. Got to keep getting it from Him. We must refuse to spring off the handle in front of our offspring. When they see us controlling our anger, it teaches them to control theirs. The scripture says, "Be angry and yet do not sin." Sometimes anger is appropriate, but we should never let it get out of bounds. Discipline and correction must be wisely rationed, but only after we've first demonstrated loving patience. I think one of the keys with anger is that you don't let the sun go down on it. In other words, you need to have come to a resolution. We get angry. We're human. And again, like it says, there's some things you should be angry about, but you want to come to a resolution before the sun goes down. You don't want day upon day upon day. You don't want to have this anger in you that's alive. It's burning, and it hasn't found the truth. You need to be able to give these things over to someone greater. That would be God the Father, and come to a resolution and come to peace. Because if you don't, if you keep going to bed with anger in your heart burning and it's not resolved, you just become an angry person, because your body starts picking up on the fact that, hey, we're angry, and it starts holding anger, and then you just become angry, and that's not good. So I think it's just taking your anger to the Lord and saying, God, here I am angry again. Bring resolution here. Bring peace into my heart here. Don't let the sun go down over your anger. You'll turn into an angry person. Do your children see you as an angry, frustrated parent? Or would they describe you as compassionate and patient instead? Love chooses restraint. It controls your emotions rather than letting them control you. It challenges you to develop a long fuse instead of igniting a short temper. If you unnecessarily blow your top, it reminds you to humble yourself and quickly apologize, knowing much is at stake. Wrath, on the other hand, is cruel. It divides and isolates. It weakens us and wounds others. It causes us to behave in foolish, regrettable ways. It almost never makes things better, usually generates additional problems. If you struggle with anger, ask yourself why. Are your expectations realistic? Are you angry with somebody else, yet taking it out on your kids? You may be harboring painful memories of a parent's harsh anger towards you when you were young, but this pain doesn't need to be passed on to your children. Sometimes anger is rooted in our own sin or hypocrisy. We often get the most angry with our kids in the same areas where we ourselves are weak. But overreacting to wrongful actions and attitudes that are familiar to us doesn't do anything to fix us, and it only frustrates them. That's where a humble confession may yield more effective instruction than the firm anger of your correction. When they know you love them and can admit your own humanity, your counsel and training carry much more meaning. Patience is always welcome. It gives people more time to work through their issues. It beautifully diffuses conflict before trouble has a chance to escalate. It whispers peace into situations brewing toward eruption. It's not a blanket form of tolerance that lets everything go, but rather a wise surveyor of the situation, allowing proper steps to be taken. Parenting does call for action against carelessness and defiance, but we must differentiate between true rebellion and what might be childish ignorance. Our kids don't think like us. Why do we expect them to act like us? We must factor in the circumstances, their age, and their level of maturity. So instead of rising up and tearing down, let love calm you down. Then you can build them up. The more patient you are today, the more victories you can celebrate tomorrow. So here's today's love dare. Write the words, "Love is patient," on a piece of paper and temporarily tape it to your mirror or refrigerator. When you see it over the next few weeks, purpose to display patience throughout the day as a further demonstration of your love to your children. All right, that's a good love dare today, being patient. But again, I just want to say that you and I, as parents, we are children as well. A lot of the issues we've got today are things that we picked up in the past that haven't been resolved. So continue to understand you're being fathered by God, and let Him father you. Give these things over to Him. Be honest with Him. Understand that, man, there is a real war going on. There is a real enemy. There is real darkness. And he is killing, stealing, and destroying. And so when you enter into the love dare, understand you're entering into a true war zone. And the reality of darkness is in us. And and the effects of darkness are always at work. And so running to God, who is love, is what we've got to do. So parents, know that you're not alone. Your failures and your struggles are common. We're in this together. So I'm in this with you. I'm doing these love dares, both the love dare for marriage and the love dare for parents. Man, it's a fight. It's a daily fight. We're in this together, and so we can trust on the Lord to do some awesome things in us and through us to our kids. So let's just trust Him to do what He's got to do, and just to love us and to heal us. So God bless you today. Hope you're encouraged. Hang in there. God's going to do some awesome things in your life and in your family. So bless you today. Bye-bye.